Welcome back. This lesson is another guided journal project. The goal of today's journal project is for you to explore new ways that you can increase your openness to experience. So by the end of today's lesson, you should have a number of new activities you can engage in that over time will increase your openness to experience and expand your creative potential. Today's guided journal project is also an excellent opportunity for you to practice divergent thinking. So before we get to today's guided journal project, let me give you some instructions on how to successfully engage in divergent thinking. First, you need to prioritize quantity. Remember, the goal of divergent thinking is for you to generate as many ideas as you can. Much later on, after you've come up with the ideas, you can evaluate them to see which ones will work and which ones won't. But while thinking divergently, the goal is just to get as many ideas as possible. Now, when I say as many ideas as possible, I don't just mean 3 or 4. Generally, you should push yourself to come up with 20, 30, or even more. Next, when you're engaged in divergent thinking, you need to postpone criticism. This is one of the most important skills for successful divergent thinking. If you judge and criticize every new idea you have right after you have it, you're going to kill your potential for creativity. Remember, at this stage, we're not interested in what ideas will work, which ones are better or worse. We're only interested in coming up with as many as possible. So you need to be able to postpone any judgments or criticisms of the ideas you generate. Next, we want to pursue wild ideas. When we're thinking divergently, we should welcome ideas that are silly, impractical, and even outlandish. These are the ideas that are going to push us into new areas of thinking. So no matter how wild an idea seems at the time, write it down. Even if you don't use it, it's going to push you into new territory. Now, while you're practicing your divergent thinking today, if you get stuck, you can come up with new ideas by connecting and constructing from your existing ideas. For example, if you have 4 or 5 ideas and you just can't come up with any more, pick 2 ideas at random, combine them together, and see what you get. This isn't a strategy that works all the time, but again, it's a great way to push your thinking in a new direction. And remember, that's what creativity is, finding meaningful connections from existing things. So the final strategy I'm going to share with you today, I call variations on a theme. This is when you take an idea you've already come up with, and you come up with minor variations on that one idea. So in the previous lesson, I talked about ways that I disrupt my daily habits, and I mentioned that sometimes I walk upstairs backwards. This is an idea that we can do some variations on. Where else could you walk backwards? You could walk backwards to work. You could walk backwards for an entire day. So again, if you're stuck, focusing in on one idea and coming up with a number of variations is a great way to get your ideas flowing again. Okay, so now that you have some strategies on how to successfully engage in divergent thinking, let's get you to your guided journal project. So go ahead and pause the video and get set up to write in your journal. Once you're ready to write in your journal, unpause the video and we'll get started. Now, just like before, you're going to keep the video playing during the whole guided journal project. I'll let you know when to write and how long you're writing for. So for your first guided journal prompt, we're going to start off with a pretty easy one. I'm going to ask you to make a list of new things you want to learn. Remember, learning new things is an excellent way to lower your levels of latent inhibition and to increase your openness to experience. So when I tell you to start writing, I'm going to ask you to list as many things as you can think of that you might be interested in learning. Now remember, I'm not asking you to commit to learning these things right now. I just want you to come up with a list of a number of new things you're excited to learn about. So some of the examples I gave in the previous lesson were learning a new instrument, starting to garden, learning to cook. If these things interest you, great, write them down. And hopefully you have a number of other things you're interested in learning too. Ready? Okay, your 2 minutes begin now. What new things do you want to learn? Your 2 minutes are nearly up. If you need more time, feel free to pause the video and resume when you're done writing. If you're done writing, let's move on. Next, we're going to explore how you can disrupt your daily habits and routines. Now, before you come up with ways to disrupt your daily habits and routines, we need to figure out what they are. So take 2 minutes and make a list of all of your habits and routines that you can think of. Think about your morning routines or your evening routines. Think about your grooming routines or eating routines. This could include your commute, things going on at work, anything that comes to mind that's a routine. You want to write it down. Your 2 minutes begin now. List as many of your habits and routines as you can think of. Your 2 minutes are nearly up. If you need more time, feel free to pause the video and resume when you're done writing. If you're done writing, let's move on. So now that you have a list of your habits and routines, I'm going to ask you to generate as many ideas as you can think of to disrupt them. So some of the examples I gave in the previous lesson were things like brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand, walking backwards. Now those are pretty basic suggestions. Now when I've done this project, some pretty strange things have made my list. I listed things like filling my kitchen with balloons to make it challenging to prepare a meal. On my list, I had wearing pot holders all day. Or things like building a fort underneath my dining room table where I would sleep. Now, I'm not going to tell you which of these things I actually did, but the point is to come up with as many wild ideas as possible. Remember, it's these strange ideas that are going to push us into new territory. So for this part of the guided journal project, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Within this 5 minutes, I want you to try and come up with 25 ideas for ways you can disrupt your habits and routines. Now, you may not get to 25, and that's okay, but that's what I want you to try for. The goal here is just to push you beyond getting 3 or 4 ideas and stopping. That's what most people do. And remember, if you get stuck, take a look at the ideas you've already written down. See if you can combine some of them to come up with something new, or focus in on one and come up with some variations on it. Ready? Okay, your 5 minutes begin now. Come up with as many ways as you can to disrupt your current habits and routines. I'll let you know when your 5 minutes are up. You've got 1 more minute. Your 5 minutes are nearly up. Today's guided journal project continues on the next video. If you need more time listing ways to disrupt your current habits and beliefs, feel free to pause the video and resume whenever you're ready. If you're finished, please continue to the next video to complete today's guided journal project.